I discovered a 5-step framework that's like a cheat code for your brain. It promises to let you learn new skills at an incredible speed. I was skeptical, so I put it to the test for 30 days with a skill I've always wanted, solving a Rubik's Cube. Not just solving it, but solving it fast. My goal was to get under 30 seconds, a time that seems almost superhuman. I started from absolute zero. I couldn't even solve one side. The results after just 1 month were so insane, I knew this was a secret I had to share. This isn't about having a high IQ or crazy discipline, it's about having the right blueprint.
Level 1. The Blueprint.
Most people, when they want to learn something, just start. They pick up a guitar and try to play a song. They open a coding program and try to build an app. That's like trying to build a giant Lego castle by just grabbing random bricks and hoping for the best. You might get a few walls up, but it's going to be wobbly, inefficient, and will probably fall apart. Level 1 is about resisting that urge to just dive in. Instead, you become the architect of your learning. It's all about deconstruction. Any skill, no matter how complicated it looks, is just a bunch of smaller sub-skills stacked together. The goal here is to break that master skill down into its minimal, learnable units, these smallest possible building blocks. For my 30-day Rubik's Cube challenge, I didn't just pick up the cube and start twisting. That's a recipe for wanting to throw it against a wall. Instead, I spent the first 2 full days doing nothing but research. I was creating my blueprint. First, I asked, what does solving a Rubik's Cube fast actually involve? My research pointed me to the most popular speed cubing method called CFOP. It stands for cross, F2L, OLL, and PLL. Instantly, the skill was deconstructed into 4 major stages. It wasn't this single, impossible task anymore. It was 4 separate things. But I went deeper. What are the tiny, bite-sized pieces of each stage? For the cross, it's about getting 4 edge pieces in the right place. For F2L, or first 2 layers, it's about solving a corner and an edge piece together. There are 41 standard patterns to learn. For OLL, orientation of the last layer, it's about making the whole top face one color. There are 57 possible algorithms for this. And for PLL, permutation of the last layer, it's about putting the final layer's pieces in their correct spots. There are 21 algorithms for this. All of a sudden, the skill of speed cubing wasn't this vague mountain. It was a checklist of about 120 specific patterns and moves. This is a total game changer. Why? Because it transforms an intimidating goal into a concrete project. Learn these 120 things. It's no longer about talent, it's about acquisition. This is also where you get smart and apply the 80-20 rule. Which 20% of the work will give me 80% of the results? I found that for beginners, you don't need all 57 OLLs and 21 PLLs. There's a beginner version called 2-Look OLL and 2-Look PLL that uses only a handful of algorithms. It's a little slower, but it gets the job done. This was my 20%. I decided to completely ignore the advanced stuff for the first 2 weeks. My blueprint was clear. Master the cross, drill the F2L cases, and learn the beginner's last layer algorithms. That's it. This works for anything. Learning a language? Don't just download an app. Figure out the 300 to 500 most common words that make up most daily conversations. What are the key grammatical structures? The 3-5 key verb tenses. Learning to draw? Don't just learn to draw. Break it down. It's really perspective, shading, and anatomy. Each of those breaks down further. Spending time on this up front feels wrong. It feels like you're procrastinating because you're not doing the thing. But trust me, this is the most productive procrastination you will ever do. You're drawing the map that will let you sprint through the journey later while everyone else is lost in the woods. This is cheat code number 1. Don't just play the game. Learn the rules and map out the entire level before you even start.
Level 2. The Forge. Once your blueprint is done, you enter the Forge. This is where you take those tiny building blocks you identified and hammer them into your brain. This is the practice phase, but it's not the mindless repetition most people do. This is deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is focused, systematic, and designed to improve one very specific subskill from your blueprint. When you learn a skill, your brain physically changes. It rewires itself, building new connections between neurons. The more you practice something the right way, the stronger these connections get. Your brain also starts insulating these circuits in a fatty substance called myelin. Think of it like rubber insulation on a wire. The thicker the myelin, the faster and cleaner the signal travels. More myelin means more skill, more speed, more effortless precision. And focused, deliberate practice is an amazing way to signal to your brain that it needs to build up that myelin. So for my Rubik's Cube challenge, what did this look like? I had my list of F2L cases and OLL/PLL algorithms from level 1. In the Forge, my job was to burn them into muscle memory. I didn't just scramble the whole cube and solve it over and over again. That's super inefficient. Instead, I used websites that would drill me on one specific F2L case at a time. I'd see the case, execute the moves, and immediately get a new one. I'd do this for 25 minutes straight with zero distractions. Phone in another room, no background noise. This is a sprint, not a marathon. This focused repetition is where the magic happens. You're targeting a single weakness and stomping it out. It feels hard because you're always working at the very edge of your abilities. You'll make mistakes. That's good. Making a mistake, realizing it, and fixing it is a powerful signal to your brain that this circuit is important and needs to be optimized. After drilling one algorithm 20 or 30 times, I would then try to do it from memory. This is called active recall, and it's one of the most powerful learning hacks there is. Instead of just passively looking at the answer, I was forcing my brain to retrieve it. That little moment of struggle is what builds strong memories. I broke my practice into intense blocks. 25 minutes on F2L cases, then a 5-10 minute break where I did absolutely nothing. This part is so important. During these breaks, your brain is consolidating what you just learned, replaying the patterns in the background at high speed. If you immediately jump on your phone, you interrupt that crucial process. After the break, I'd hit another 25-minute sprint on OLL algorithms, then another break, then PLL. This is the work, but it's smart work. Because it's so targeted, every minute of effort is productive. You're not wasting time on stuff you already know or things you don't need yet. You are forging the specific neural pathways for mastery. This is cheat code number 2. Don't just practice. Do short, intense sprints on your key subskills, then give your brain a real break.
Level 3, the Gauntlet. After some time in the Forge, you'll have a set of solid but separate skills. You can do the moves perfectly in a controlled environment. But mastery doesn't happen in a sterile practice room. It happens in the chaos of the real world. Welcome to Level 3, the Gauntlet. The goal here is to take your skills out of the predictable lab and force them to work in messy, unpredictable situations. This stage is about going from, okay, I can do this if I really think about it, to, whoa, my hands just did it by themselves. For a skill to become truly yours, you have to use it under pressure. For my Rubik's Cube challenge, this meant it was time to stop drilling isolated moves and start doing full-timed solves. That was the first layer of the gauntlet. Just adding a ticking clock changes everything. My first timed solves were a mess. I'd forget algorithms I knew cold. My hands would fumble, my brain would just freeze up. This is normal. This is the gauntlet working. It's showing you the weak spots that only appear under stress. But I didn't stop there. The gauntlet demands variety. I had my friends scrabble the cube so I couldn't get used to my own patterns. I started practicing in new places. I took my cube to a coffee shop. I tried to solve it while holding a conversation. Each new condition forced my brain to make the skill more robust and less dependent on a perfect, quiet environment. Every time you recall a skill in a new context, your brain pulls it up,
dusts it off and makes it a little stronger and more flexible. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They stay in the forge forever. They become the guitarist who's a rock star in their bedroom but clams up on stage. They're the language learner who aces every quiz on their app but freezes when a native speaker asks for directions. The gauntlet is the bridge between practice and reality. If you're learning a language, the gauntlet is starting a conversation with a native speaker no matter how terrifying it is. If you're learning to code, it's building a small real project for a friend instead of just doing another tutorial. If you're learning public speaking, it's volunteering to give a toast at a wedding. The key is to embrace feeling awkward. You will mess up, but every time you step into the gauntlet, you send a powerful signal to your brain. Hey, this is important. I need to be able to do this anytime, anywhere. This is cheat code number 3. Don't hide in the practice room. Constantly put your skills to the test in real, unpredictable situations.
Level 4, the feedback loop. Practice and real-world application are great, but if you don't have feedback, you could just be practicing your mistakes over and over, cementing bad habits. Level 4 is about building a system for high-quality, rapid feedback. This is the feedback loop. It's the smart, self-correcting system that lets you see your mistakes, understand why they're happening, and make tiny, precise adjustments. Ideally, feedback comes from an expert coach watching over your shoulder. But most of us don't have a world-class coach on call 24/7. So, we have to get creative and build our own feedback systems. For my cube journey, this was the key to breaking through my first major plateau. After about 2 weeks, my solve times were hovering around the 50-second mark. I was stuck. I needed better feedback. So I set up my phone and recorded myself doing 10 solves. Then I watched them back in slow motion. It was brutally honest. I immediately saw where I was losing massive chunks of time. There were these long, clumsy pauses between stages where my brain was just spinning, looking for the next pattern. My look ahead was 0. I also saw that my finger movements were inefficient. I was re-gripping the cube constantly. That self-review was my first feedback loop. It gave me a new mission. I now knew I had to practice the transition from the cross to F2L without pausing. I also started watching videos of pro cubers, but I wasn't watching their speed. I was watching their hands. How did they hold the cube? How did they execute moves so smoothly? I was getting feedback by comparing myself to the best. The second, even more powerful feedback loop was a community. I posted a video of one of my solves on a speed cubing forum and just asked, "Can you guys tear this apart for me?" The feedback was amazing. Strangers pointed out things I never would have noticed. One person told me I was using a decent algorithm for a specific case, but a different one would set me up way better for the next step, often letting me skip a move entirely. It was a tiny change that would save seconds. Whatever you're learning, you have to build these loops. Learning to write? Join a writer's group. Use software that analyzes your grammar. Read authors you love and break down their style. That's a form of feedback. Learning an instrument? Record yourself and listen back. It will make you cringe, but it's pure gold. Without feedback, you're flying blind. You might feel like you're getting better, but you have no objective way of knowing. You'll hit a wall and have no idea how to get over it. This is cheat code number 4. Don't just practice, constantly record, review, and get outside feedback to find your blind spots.
Level 5, the overdrive. This is the final level, the overdrive. This is where everything from the first 4 levels comes together. It's the stage where the skill becomes so deeply learned that it goes from a conscious effort to an unconscious, automatic action. This is the flow state you hear about, where you're so deep in an activity you lose all track of time. Your hands seem to move on their own. You're not thinking, you're just doing. You can't force your way into this stage. It just happens. It emerges as the natural result of all the work you've put in. It's the moment you stop translating a language in your head and the words just come out.
It's the moment a musician stops thinking about notes and just feels the music. It's the payoff for all the myelin you've built, all the neural circuits you've forged. The signals in your brain are moving so fast that your conscious mind can't keep up. And it doesn't have to. I started to get glimpses of the overdrive in the final week of my challenge. I'd be in the middle of a solve, and my hands would be solving one piece, while my eyes were already scanning the cube for the next one. I wasn't telling them to do that. The process had become so automatic that different parts of my brain were working in parallel. I'd finish a solve, look at the timer, and be shocked at the number, because it didn't feel that fast. There was no strain, no intense effort. It was just a flow. This is the ultimate goal. Not just to be able to do the skill, but to do it effortlessly, to make it part of you. You don't get here by trying to be in flow. You get here by working the system. The blueprint gives you the map. The forge builds the engine. The gauntlet makes it roadworthy. The feedback loop fine-tunes it for performance. The overdrive is the reward. It's the cheat code fully activated when you've leveled up so much the game starts to play itself.
The climax, my 30-day results. The moment of truth. I started this as a total beginner. To me, a scrambled Rubik's Cube was a symbol of chaos. My goal was to solve it in under 30 seconds, a time that felt completely out of reach. I sat down at my desk, took a few deep breaths, and my friend started a timer. He'd used an online generator to get a random scramble, so this was legit. I picked up the cube, the timer started, the cross came together almost on its own, then F2L. I flowed from one pair to the next. I remember seeing the third pair, and my hands started solving it while my eyes found the fourth pair across the cube. That parallel processing thing was happening on demand. I hit the last layer. It was a 2-look OLL case I drilled hundreds of times. Executed. Then the final PLL case. My hands flew through the moves. The last turn snapped into place. Solved. I slammed it on the table and looked up. My friend was just staring at the stopwatch with his mouth open. "No way," he said. He showed me the time. 28.74 seconds. I had done it. I had shattered my goal. In 30 days, I went from a guy who couldn't solve a single side to someone who could solve the whole thing in under 30 seconds. And it wasn't a fluke. We did it again and again. My times were consistently in the high 20s. The feeling wasn't just pride, it was shock. The system had worked even better than I had dared to hope. It felt like I'd found a superpower, but it wasn't a superpower, it was just a better method. It proved to me that the things we think are holding us back, no talent, not being smart enough, are usually just illusions. There's a result of using a bad strategy. With the right system, the limits on what you can do are much further away than you think.
So that's my journey. 0 to a sub 30-second solve in 1 month. The results speak for themselves. This 5-level mastery cascade is the most powerful learning system I've ever used. Let's recap the cheat code one last time. Level 1, the blueprint. Deconstruct the skill. Find the 20% of actions that get you 80% of the way there. Map it out first. Level 2, the forge. Use focused sprints to drill your core skills. Attack your weaknesses relentlessly. Level 3, the gauntlet. Take your skills into the real world. Pressure and variety make them stronger. Level 4, the feedback loop. Record, review, and get outside eyes on your work. Hunt for your blind spots. Level 5, the overdrive. This isn't a step, it's the destination, the effortless flow state that emerges from the process. This is my go-to framework now. It removes the guesswork and frustration and replaces it with engineered precision. The best part wasn't just learning to solve a cube, it was realizing that I can learn anything I put my mind to if I follow the system. And you can too. So what's the one skill you've always wanted to learn but told yourself you couldn't? Playing the piano? Speaking Spanish? Coding? I challenge you to pick one, just one. And for the next 30 days, apply this framework. Deconstruct it, drill it, face the gauntlet, get feedback, and see what happens. I promise, you will shock yourself. If this was helpful, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna be using this framework to tackle more skills, and I'll be sharing the whole journey. Let me know in the comments what skill you're gonna master. I honestly wanna hear about it.
You have the cheat code now. Go level up.